Who are the wrestlers looking for revenge this season? There are 5 wrestlers that I want to talk about that are going to look for revenge this season because of a loss from last year, from 2018-2019 season. Now, I want to mention that all these matches I'm going to talk about, I will have linked below in the description so you can watch them all. They're all linked up so you can watch them, and they're very exciting matches to watch. So, who are my dream matchups? The first matchup that I want to discuss is at 125 pounds, Spencer Lee versus Sebastian Rivera. Of course, Spencer Lee will be seeking revenge on Sebastian Rivera. Now, yes, Spencer Lee did win the national tournament last year. However, he had 2 losses to Seabass out of Northwestern. The last time they wrestled was not at the national championship. However, it was at the Big Ten finals. These two wrestled, went into a sudden victory match. Who is going to win next? I think that Lee pulls off the victory. Their next meeting will probably be at Midland in December. We've seen a couple of close matches. Of course, that last match at Big Ten Finals was a little bit unfortunate because of a hands to the face call, a close takedown in OT, and it kind of went either way. I don't think that Seabass is going to give up without a fight, and I think it's very possible that Seabass actually wins the next time they meet, possibly at Midlands, like he beat him last year. However, that's just my prediction for what's going to happen at the next match. The next guy seeking revenge, Nick Lee. Nick Lee is seeking revenge on Dom Demas. The last time these two wrestled was at the national championship whenever Dom won 13-9. Now, their next meeting is probably not going to be until nationals because there aren't any common tournaments, aren't any duels that these two are wrestling, Oklahoma versus Penn State. Now, these two, Demas, of course, he's a pretty strong upper body wrestler. He likes to kind of go over with those hooks. He's a strong wrestler. He likes a lot of throws. That's kind of what we saw happen in last year's match. Now, we did see Lee kind of battle back after getting tossed early on, and Lee has been known to battle back from victories. I'd like to see Nick Lee win, but I'm a big fan of Demas too, so we'll see what happens there. Next up, talking at 149 pounds, the guy looking for revenge here, Brock Mahler on Austin O'Connor. The reason that these number 1, number 2 guys right now, O'Connor, of course, out of UNC, is the number 1 ranked guy at 149 pounds. The reason that he's number 1 right now is because he has a win over Mahler last year at the national tournament. However close it was a 4-3 victory that O'Connor had on Mahler, and we'll see, we'll see if we end up getting this matchup or not. Early on in the season, we're going to see number 3 and Deegan wrestle number 2 Mahler. That's actually the last duel of the season that these two are going to wrestle. So we could see them going into a national finals situation where these two maybe meet up somewhere early on, depending on where they're ranked. Because otherwise, these two won't meet up until nationals because they're both in separate conferences. Of course, MAC and the ACC. Next up on my radar, who is a guy looking for revenge, Vincenzo Joseph. Of course, Vincenzo Joseph is looking for revenge on Alex Marinelli, and he's not just looking for 1 year's worth of revenge, he's looking for 2 years worth of revenge because Marinelli beat him in a duel 2 years ago, beat him in the Big Ten finals last year. And this is a guy just always seems to edge out Vincenzo, and he just kind of knows his style, knows what he's going to do. We saw Vincenzo kind of go upper body with him, just can't quite get that against Marinelli. So he tried taking a couple shots we saw at the national tournament, a little bit different, various style. Last time they wrestled, Marinelli won 9-3, so it was a pretty big victory there. And before that, it was actually 9-6. That was the score of the match in the duel. Who's going to win next? In the Penn State versus Iowa duel, which is when these two are going to meet up, I think there's a very good chance that Marinelli wins next. Now, I will say, never bet against Vincenzo. We've seen him pull massive victories off in the past, and it's very, very possible that he can pull off a victory again. So, what could we see happen here? 3-time matchup. We could see Big Ten's, the duel, and the national tournament. I can't wait to see what happens after these two guys go at it because Vincenzo, of course, is looking for revenge. And The next guy looking for revenge is Gable Steveson. Of course, Steveson is looking for massive revenge against Anthony Cassar. The last time these two wrestled was in the national semifinals, whenever there was a 4-3 victory for Cassar, which is very, very tight. Now, what's interesting is that this was the same exact score when these two wrestled in the Big Ten finals, whenever Anthony Cassar pulled up a massive upset against the undefeated Gable Steveson. And I see that Steveson has another phenomenal season, and we could see what happens when these two wrestle next. These two will be wrestling next, Penn State versus Minnesota in February. That is when this duel will be happening. But we could also see them wrestle at Big Tens, wrestle at the national tournaments.